We're gonna do Act 1 of Paris to the Window, and I'm gonna narrate what's going on. Let's have a listening party! Okay, here we go. So, the Overture. We start Paris, 1923. And it's this dim, gray pre-dawn, a little dispirited. We open on the Place des États-Unis, Paris, 1923, on this dim, dim morning. There's a stone pedestal where a statue should be on top, but there's nothing there yet. And the overture starts. And a little girl enters. She looks around the empty square, and she climbs on top of the stone pedestal and makes like a statue, all frowning. It's really cute. And then a young poet enters and looks at the statue, beaming. He's got a red ascot, like he's stepped out of another century, just like hipster for the early 1900s. And a woman enters, Marielle, and she's carrying a giant wooden box, and they connect. They obviously know each other. Alan's like, oh, hey, you missed the unveiling. And she's like, I wanted to be alone. And he's like, what is this, another grand gesture? And she's like, whatever. And she eventually is like, I took care of it. Talking about the box. And she says, I wanted you to see it again. I want us to live it all again. And he's like, points to the box and is like, is that? And she's like, come on. What is she like?
It is Paris through the window. Paris through the window.
Peeling backwards. We go back in time 10 years.
The placid, lustrous waters mirrored the walls across where orange windows burn, windows burn, windows burn.
Can you see it? Can you see all of it?
Yes, but you must tell it, Marielle. Not as it was, but as we'll always remember. So how would you begin?
Once upon a time, in the city of Paris.
This is based on a real poem.
Out into the evening streets.
We're nasty for that. So that is based on a real poem as written by our lead poet guy, Alan Seeger. Isn't he a hottie? Isn't he hot? Fall in love with this man. He is gorgeous and his poetry is gorgeous. Those lyrics were sort of an interpolation of his words and the story that we need to tell. So they go back in time, remembering what happened to them 10 years ago. There's a poet and a French woman, an American poet and a French woman. They know each other. We go back in time 10 years to Paris, 1913. Summer 1913, the square, same square 10 years earlier, the statue is gone, okay? We're there, and Alan is gonna go to a salon and present his poems for the first time to society, and shit goes wrong. Marielle accidentally ties, she's got a red balloon, sitting on a bench, he's practicing his poems, you'll hear this in the music, and they connect, and long story short, she ties his poem to her balloon and sends it in the air in a complete misunderstanding. It ruins his chances at a Paris salon, which is like how you, debuted as an artist back then. So this is that salon at Madame D's house on the square. Paris, 1913. See, transition, you hear it? We go inside these rich, snooty bitches.
Quelle soirée, what a day to debut. Avant-gardists and their patrons too, to see Alan Seeger breaking through. He'll be famous, wait and see. Oh, my name's Madame D. Monsieur Seeger, so do say, will the well-to-do woo you today? Alan?
We go outside, his best friends chase him.
Quelle soirée.
His best friends.
Loop them both with Cuban fog. Don't delay.
Should you fail, it's home you'll sail, USA.
Here's your shot, your one big shot.
No one's published you.
And no one wants to publish you.
Alan, you cannot fare worse than I did. My first salon, they said, did you paint a cow? I say, I paint my fiancée. They say, your fiancée looks like a cow. So I enlist Armand to
punch him in the face.
We do not have schmoozing in Russia.
May I have a minute?
I'll be inside.
I must return to work. The towel won't repaint itself.
He came to steal absinthe and champagne.
It's for a good cause, so that we may drink it tonight at the Bal Bullier.
So now he's alone on the bench with Marielle. He's studying his poem,
You remember
which we just heard as the opening number. And now he's running through it in his mind, and she hears
We
him.
wandered off under the third
And it pricks her ear for a very specific reason we'll find out later.
Behind bright streets and busy places stood where the Seine flowed down between its quiet quays. God, I'm good. The city's voice was
The
hushed.
city's voice was hushed.
The placid, lustrous waters mirrored the walls.
And we're connecting.
Across where orange windows burned. Windows burned. I like your balloon.
I like your poem.
May I hold it?
May I read it?
Take it.
Merci.
The balloon?
No.
I'm presenting at this writer's salon.
Madame D?
You know her?
Not anymore.
Ooh, what's going on
I'm hoping to
there?
find a patron or a mentor through her salon. They seem quite hard to come by in this booming economy. Perhaps I'll shock them, like the Rite of Spring, but for poetry. I don't know if you heard, but there was a riot at the premiere. It was so bad. New. I'm new. Here. Quite new. You could probably tell that from my accent, that I'm not from around here, and from my lack of a foreign language, that I'm from America.
I think I gleaned that from the talking.
I think I'm nervous. I've spent a year trying to get anyone to read my work, so merci for that. And now that I'm finally presenting for all the tastemakers in Paris, I don't know if they're gonna like me. I think it all started when I was born.
What is wrong with your mouth? Why can't this speak like this?
Mouths don't get writer's block. Why the balloon?
A memorial.
Where?
Here.
When?
Now.
Oh.
Monsieur Seeger, we're waiting!
Marielle!
Madam G.
Mon Dieu,
Knows
Marielle,
Marielle.
it's you.
Oh, come in. I'll open my finest champagne.
You might be missing that.
Just remember my house before I feed you to the critics. Wait here. You know how I feel about letting the yank loose.
So he goes back inside the party but forgot his poem. With her.
Quelle soirée, drop 1,000 or two. Circling vultures on a culture few. Patrons gonna be patrons, saints for you. Will your poetry be sung? Will we shower you with gold? Alan Seeger, we gave you time.
And he realizes
Where's my poem?
Where's
my poem? Oh my god!
she's
Monsieur,
flying the
What?
poem away with her balloon.
Can we reschedule?
Bonjourne, how embarrassing too. Monsieur Seeger, we bid you adieu. Don't call us, I promise, we'll call you. He won't get another chance. He's a laughing stock of France. Alan Seeger, Waterloo.
How many times have I rhymed ooh this last chorus? You ready?
Time to give the boot to who the well-to-do. Near the well is not a root to no alternative. Here's the circle spin to Quelle Soirée.
24. 24 times. The ooh vowel was rhymed in the last chorus. So they kick him out because she thought that he gave her the piece of paper from his manuscript. And so he took it, and she was like, oh, this would be a nice thing for this memorial that I'm having. And flies his fucking chances away with a red balloon. And he comes out and is like, what the fuck? And she's like, no, wait, it's still, I can get it back. It's hanging right here. It's sort of hovering in the air. Your poem must be weighing it down. And his friend Marc is like, Alan's poems weigh everything down. Oh, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go run off and chase it. And she goes off, she's like, I swear to God, I'm gonna make this right. She goes and runs off to try to chase after this slightly rising in the air balloon with his poem tied to it. And Alan is completely discouraged because he's been waiting a whole year to have his one big chance and he doesn't get it because of just things outside of his control. And it's all fucked up now. And so he sings about his dream as an American in Paris who really cares about this place and his place in it. So this is his conception of what he needs to do as an artist. It's called The Lucky Ones. It's one of my favorite songs in the show.
I could be one of the lucky ones, defying death after I'm dead. I don't need their wealth to make my verse appear. Sever my purse, I'll persevere. I could be one of the ancient ones, men who live beyond their own age, immortal as stone from the passions I've known. Have you seen the sun rise over Notre Dame, painting gold along the ripples of the sand? How the stained glass windows shimmer in response and chase the clouds with emerald and azure, and then the light becomes a song to your new home. You must prove you belong to your new home. So you ride and you ride, but nothing ever changes. I could be one of the lucky ones if the world would only stand still. They applaud the new while I uphold the great. I'm both green and out of date. I could be one of the story ones, men whose deeds inspire the world. Yet I'm wasting my time with no reason or rhyme.
'Cause it blew away, get it?
Days I have regretted doing what I'm doing, but how could I at this point be anywhere else than where I am? A writer is a spectator, only a reactor. Writing is a shallow how I long for the current. Is there something better? Am I something better? But I need the sunrise over Notre Dame, tinting shadows with its marigold and rose. For if nothing else, I know I must remain. By such beauty I can worship or compose. I'll make Paris shine before I pass. France will build a shrine. I'll be at last one of the lucky ones. One of the lucky ones who gave till the grave for his home.
How fucking fierce is that? That is Josh Strobel. He is in Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway, or was, it just closed. He's absolutely brilliant. So that song, most of those lyrics, this show is inspired by this World War I poet, Alan Seeger. If you're just joining us, look at what a hottie this guy is who's singing that, the character. And I had to make my lyrics sound as floral as he thought. So most of that is me, and we use a couple of little interpolations of things that he said in there, but that's mostly things that I wrote, and that's just a whole nother side of me. But the whole point was to make our sounds indistinguishable from each other. And so I had to get myself to be a level where I could do that. Anyway, so he's like, see, this is what I want. I want to live forever by what I write for Paris and all this shit, my new home. Prove myself here so great that I'll just be the greatest artist they've ever seen. And his Russian painter friend, Marc, is like, what the hell sort of philosophy is that? And he's like, I'm a poet! And he's like, well, suddenly it all makes sense. And he's like, what the fuck? And so this is Marc, his friend, telling him, art ain't about you, babe. Art ain't about you. It's about what you give. Art is service. And this song is called The Artist Song. And it's just kind of a thesis of this theme of the show. And I think it's just beautiful. Here you go.
That's why you can't write.
What?
There's no life in your work. Life is in motion. Lifeless emotion is useless in art. But it's a start.
What about still lifes?
You are not a bowl of fruit.
I'm expressing myself.
Express less. I do not express myself. I preserve the world. That's why I paint my fiancée, so she will never fade away. You should not express yourself. You should serve the world. You don't matter. Hear me, the artist doesn't matter. Clearly, you're simply the vessel, the prism, the mirror. You're just a reflection but clearer.
See?
So that we might see.
What's a reflection but clearer? Listen to the guys in the background.
What you alone can see.
Paris through the window, you're just a reflection but clearer. Through the artist's perspective.
Look at the blue sky right there. Not there. There. That little last whisper of day. It's such a perfect shade of blue. Light, color, shadow, stillness. You have to catch the moment. only have one moment to capture it.
How can you be of service if you're always looking in? You'll never see the light out there if you're always looking in.
How will you begin?
Let's go find Armand. And let's make something beautiful today.
Yay! That's Travis Kent. He was on Broadway in Disaster. It's amazing. So if you're just joining us, we're in Paris, 1913. A poem, an American poet who's really, really sexy, Alan Seeger, and a children's author, a French children's author, have this weird run-in. She's accidentally tied his poem to a red balloon in a memorial service. Long story short, the poem gets trapped at the Eiffel Tower where fucking Armand is like repainting it drunk. And he like helps rescue it, and just in time for Alan and Marc to rejoin him because they were all going to go to the Bal Bullier anyway. And now Marielle's there, and they've reconnected, and they convince her to go out on the town with the boys. Now we're going to the Bal Bullier, which is right about here, right now in Paris. So we've gone from like the Eiffel Tower all the way down here, and we're going up here in a subway. The Bal Bullier is like the Moulin Rouge of the 1910s. It's seedy, it's sexy, it's gross, but this guy is this romantic-ass poet, and he sees it as like this fairyland. So this is inspired by his poem, Bal Bullier, which I will find in here. So this is them going on a drunken bender at like the Moulin Rouge, essentially. But this guy sees this place as a wonderland, and it's just kind of a theme of his, to see the best in the world like this. That we'll see that come to tragic fruition later. So this is Bal Bullier. This is a fun friends night. We wanted this to be like really jaunty and period appropriate. So listen to this, and then in the middle you'll hear Alan's beautiful poem about this.
Put on your tails, your tux, in the stripes and buckskins. I have a place in mind, racy and unrefined, where the floor spins, and there's more sins that I cajole you. So keep you grinning, play a game of chance, grab a girl and dance, find a new long lost love, or read a spell for the world. Let's go to Bal Bullier.
Where can I find them?
Bal Bullier?
The wildest dance hall in Paris. Picasso will be there. Dulciné will be there.
No one from that party will be there. Now, do we want champagne or absinthe?
Both! Lock, lips and foxtrot, quick the clock's up.
Aren't we adorable? Let's get deplorable.
Start a new twist, try a tongue twist. If you can stand the band keeps you spinning.
Rhythm never stops.
Nor do partner swaps. Once a few drinks you've taken, we've forsaken the world. We're the Bal Bullier. We're the Bal Bullier. Find an angel.
Ring the bell of the bar.
Here we are.
Just find a girl to twirl. Or a gentleman.
Let's see right here.
Daddy's there would die.
But follow past, we're about to start right there.
Life is gaiety,
Spontaneity.
every day we
Soirée, your teeth.
Bal Bullier.
We're going inside, and you'll read along. It's from 100 years ago, this poem.
But follow past the flaming lights, borne onward with the stream of feet. Where Bullier's further up the street is marvelous on Thursday nights. Here all Bohemia flocks apace, you could not often find elsewhere. So many happy heads and fair, assembled in one time and place. Under the glare and noise and heat, the galaxy of dancing worlds. Smokers with covered heads and girls dressed in the costume of the street. Crowds congregate and make a ring, 40 feet stand and strain to see the tango in its ecstasy of glowing eyes that clasp and cling. And only when the measure cease and terminate the flowing dance do they waken from their magic trance and join the cries that clamor, and join the cries that clamor. Bees on call.
Drink up and be a disgrace. But don't say sound the conga is bound to fall. Glance around the hall, fancies round. We're all getting loose and getting tight. Every day and every night. Paris is the bacchanal. Have a spree of free for all. You
that's a bit. We get to the Bal Bullier. We're a little bit wasted. It's Alan and Marielle. Alan, the American sexy poet. Marielle, the grieving French children's author, and their French dancer drunk friend Armand, and their Russian painter friend Marc. We are all at the Bal Bullier having a good time, and this is where we meet the underbelly. This is where we meet the antagonist of the piece, the war. There's this big thing in Paris in the Belle Epoque at this point called revanchism, meaning revenge. The Franco-Prussian War was kind of started for pretty much no reason. And there was a siege of Paris that was really, really, really bad. And they took Alsace and Lorraine and all these other territories from France. And French children grew up with their maps of France. They had 2 blacked out marks where Alsace and Lorraine would be. It'd be like if South Carolina and Georgia were taken by like the Russians, and we just blacked them out in every classroom in America on a map of the United States and said, never forget, never forget. Never forget what we are owed. So there's this and we've had this beautiful fun Paris, but now we're seeing that there's a danger here too. The world is hungry for conflict. We're hungry for change and for bad things to happen in a way. And look around now, we're kind of like willing shit to happen. We're so angry. There's this current of revenge in the air. So this is kind of relatable content, right? And so this sets up the politics of the period because it starts affecting the relationships in here. So we start out really fun, but we're about to get really fucked up. This is Revanche.
Armand, I swear, after your stunt, I will never see the Eiffel Tower the same.
Have you seen how the cubists see it? It's exactly how the tower looks when you're drunk.
You are so stupid, it hurts.
And Alan Marielle.
Are you alright?
Pardon?
You have a pained expression.
Good, Alan. Women love to hear that.
You are a dancing souffle.
Gay joke!
I don't like crowds.
What?
I've not been around this many people in 3 years.
Is that when the person died?
Oh, man.
When you...
The Virgin
Forever.
The memorial, the balloon. Did something happen 3 years ago?
I enjoyed your new poem about the band. Enchanting.
Did you hear that?
Dodging the question?
She's dodging the question.
About the bow?
About you.
Our sad-eyed Sphinx has a secret.
I had a cat named Sphinx. He used to pee in my warm room.
This is why you don't get cubism. But it is no matter, because, attention, silver split. I am getting my first exhibition next year in Berlin
The German?
Mark, that's fantastic!
at the Sturm Gallery.
They will love you in Berlin.
Thank you.
They have good taste in Berlin.
After I sell my paintings, I'll have the money to go home to Russia and marry my Bella.
Oh, he's going to be like a wandering Jew.
What?
The wandering Jew. Condemned to walk the earth forever.
I'm going home, you ass.
It's in the Bible.
I thought a wandering Jew was a plant.
It's not.
Yes, it is. We had wandering Jews in Mexico.
You did not.
Yes, we did. I had a wandering Jew on my porch.
And? Did you invite him in?
Why did I leave the house today?
I quite agree. Stop talking.
That's a relevant joke that becomes later because the actual real life Marc painted something called that, and it figures in Alan Seeger's poetry. We were like weaving things later. Anyway,
Paris was just to give a
Marc is leaving
What are
forever.
you saying? You're never coming back.
I do not know.
What do you mean you do not know? Do you not care?
Armand.
So you'll leave your best friend behind to fraternize with his sworn enemy?
Privilege!
Do you know what this is? Do you know why I have to carry this?
This is true. They were little booklets called livre, not livre, booklet.
Show these foreigners your
Smaller.
livre militaire.
Show them what you have on
Show
you
them
at all
always
times.
underneath their gaze.
Every man had to carry their military mobilization orders at all times. So even in like the dance hall, there's a reminder, you have to be ready for war. Here we go.
40 years ago, the Germans invaded for no reason. They sieged Paris for no reason. And my grandparents died of starvation. Now every Frenchman under 48 must carry his mobilization orders at all times, including me. I have to be ready in case the strongest army in the world tries to kill you, but you want to fraternize with them.
Privilege!
Did not know.
But will you change your plans now that you do?
And he says,
I am leaving.
Coward! Meet the underside of your Paris. Everyone's hiding. Revanche, revanche, revanche. Wait, don't underestimate Paris. Everyone's biting. Revanche, revanche, revanche. All of my life I've heard revanche, Revanche, revenge for what they did. Revanche, revanche, there's no outrunning revanche for me.
And then Madame D shows up with these cute gay boys.
So the famous recluse runs to dance.
Talks to Marielle.
Her friend. What a modern way to grieve. Madame D. Oh, but dude, this creature.
What are you doing here?
I'm toasting the successes of my salon. Is that my champagne?
Because he stole the
Mr. Seeger, I
champagne.
cannot stay here.
We were as sisters, Marielle. But when you needed someone, you pushed me away. I forged your career. Where is that?
I'm not writing. Alan, please.
Helping him, but not yourself. When are you going to shake out of this and get back to who you
I will not listen to this. Alan, you must leave
So
with me.
Marielle used to be a famous writer, we find out. Oh my god.
Every day, everywhere, revanche, revanche, underneath everything, revanche, revanche, one day we'll have our revanche, revanche, revanche.
So, we know that there's a war. Everyone's on edge for war, whatever. We also know that Marielle is a famous French children's author and she lost a child 3 years ago, and she wrote all of her children's books for this child. And the child is haunting her. That was the little girl we saw in the beginning. She appears in the background a couple times. Marielle is haunted by this loss, and that's the reason she stopped writing. She stopped writing because she wrote all of her children's books for her daughter who died. And so she was releasing a red balloon in the park in memorial of her when she met Alan, and she takes that as a sign. So that's why she's here. She's like, I decided that whatever happens, I need to move on with my life because I'm stuck. I'm not writing. I'm not doing anything. And I happened to run into you, somebody who wants to be where I used to be, a success in the city. And like, I don't know, it's kismet. It feels like my daughter. So she's like, want to go back to my place and talk business? And he's like, so that's what we hear in this song. And you'll hear the path they take across Paris, because the Bal Bullier is over here, and Marielle's house is at 16 Rue Saint-Gilles, which is precisely right there. And so the way you have to go from there takes you right past Notre Dame. So you'll hear bells in the background in this. This is called Alice's Lullaby. It's the most beautiful scene transition on Broadway. Fight me. This is a scene transition. Wait for it. It's unbelievable.
What's that?
Her lullaby. What was 3 years of cursing that day when I forgot the words I always sang to her. If lullabies were fading, her memory was fading. What then? Couldn't write, couldn't live, never could let her go.
That's the little girl.
3 years of what would she say left me so empty and lonely. I had to break through a red balloon to move on, a sign of when to move on. It's her balloon led me to you. The moment I let her go.
Scene transition. You ready for this? Fuck me. This is gorgeous.
Let's go.
sound of them running across Paris. She's like, I don't know. This is kismet. Something's meant to be. I don't know what it is, but her memory brought us together. So they go racing across Paris to her house at number 16 Rue Saint-Gilles, which is a real place. You can look it up. It's beautiful. And this is Alan's first night at a sexy lady's house. And she's just here for business. She's like, let's just talk, and we're drunk, and let's keep talking poetry. I feel so alive. But he thinks it's something else. And so he gets nervous chatter. I'm going to try to lip sync my life. Lip sync for my life. I'm going to try to lip sync for my life to this shit. Because it's fast. Try to keep up with these rhymes. You ready? Let's start over. Shit, fuck me. Here we go.
New York is not a city to awaken or inspire. It's a candy-coated dollar bill you never can acquire, where money is the only measure people will admire. If you want a life but not a dime, they think you've gone haywire. Well, money doesn't interest me, just think what I require. Just a pencil and a moment that can set my heart afire. Dinner clubs and dollar bills are not my heart's desire, so I hopped a boat to Paris, but I still can't find a buyer. And maybe I will fail again and draw my parents' ire, but I'd rather fail in Paris than prevail in that quagmire. Why, it's hot, I think I need a drink, I'm starting to perspire. And the more I talk, the more I think my voice is getting higher. With no iron in the fire, things are looking rather dire. So I think I'll wait here quietly and let my lips retire.
And she goes,
Please come in, have some wine. Let's relax, refresh, recline. There is absolutely nothing wrong. You are fine. Now you say you're from New York.
New York? Yes, sort of, for a bit. My father moved us quite a lot, I'm homeless, I'll admit. City born in Staten, raised to Mexico, we split where the color and the people turn my pages passionate. Harvard is my alma mater, degree in Celtic lit. My roommate T.S. Eliot would never clean his shit. Mexico is beautiful, but if I may submit, then Paris is the fairest where there's summer lunar lit.
You need stronger wine. You stretch out, repose supine. There is never a reason to rush.
People always wonder why I chose to come here. I tell them it's because I feel my heart belongs here. I'm a pioneer, I made the city my frontier. I thought if I would persevere and keep my poetry sincere, I'd have a stratosphere career. But now the future's so unclear. Sorry if I'm true here, I'm talking like an engineer. I'll hear my rear and let my senses breathe here. Wanna hear my new premiere? Wait, now I'm trigger inner ear. Yes, I volunteer, my ears have gotten too severe. I'll slow it down and bring the cheer example. What's your favorite beer? Stop! I think I'm nervous. Shh.
This is not that kind of night, but if you'd like a place to sleep, then we can talk of tales and poetry till morning hours creep. I'd forgotten how I love the work I gave up long ago. It seems that Marielle is not herself, if she is not Revanche.
that was her pen name,
My
Revanche
love
Mansart.
and your poem, I tied them together. But there's something more here that ties us together. We are romantics, no? And in such a callous age. But there is an audience for us. Every day people call outside my home. Number 16 Rue Saint-Gilles, the row house made of golden sun. It's the happiest sunshine shade of yellow. And her stories are as happy as that yellow. If breeders flock to Rue Saint-Gilles, they'll fly to where you ride.
Really?
With time and help.
Two red balloons and palms.
Two red balloons and poems to your new writing patron.
To your new writing patron. Wait, what? Who? Then you decided what I hope you had decided, and I didn't have to ask it, you decided uninvited? If you mean that I'll be guided and have funds to be provided, I can stay alive in Paris, so my words were all recited. I'm delighted we collided, even more reunited, for the whole reunited tells me
I'll need one.
I'll be fine.
So, she agrees to become his patron. And so they've connected. And her pen name is Revanche Mansart. That's why she has that beautiful line where she says, "It seemed I'd forgotten how I love the work I gave up long ago. It seems that Marielle is not herself if she is not Revanche," which is a man's pen name. Because women still unfortunately have to do that. So it sure was not like, it sure would have been worse back then. Even though it's still bad today. So they connect, and he's like, I'm so sorry you lost your daughter and everything. Death is the thing I'm most afraid of. And she says, death is nothing terrible, mon poète. It may mean something more wonderful than life, which is a quote from a letter that this guy, Alan Seeger, wrote. So we're sowing the seeds of something that's going to come up later. And she's like, I'm never going to write again. And he's like, well, can you just like muse a story with me right now? She's like, muse? Like, what the fuck? Like, boy, please. He's like, no, we're just playing. Like, whatever. And she's like, okay, fine. I'm not going to say Once Upon a Time. I'm not going to say Happily Ever After. She was a children's author. She stopped writing because her daughter died, if you're just joining us. And she's like, okay, so I'm fine. What am I going to muse about? And he points downstage. And she goes, and she starts making a rectangle motion in the air, in the empty air. And we realize, without the word being said, we realize that this is a window. Paris through the window. And this is the end of Act 1 of a 3-act play. They're 40-minute acts, like a Netflix show. 3 40-minute acts, like a Netflix show, an operatic musical. And this is where they come together and have sex by the end of it. So she starts musing a new story, and he writes a poem about her, and they have a relationship. And this is the window, one of the windows in Paris Through the Window. So she goes and looks, and she has to make a new thing about the window. And so as her palms press flat in the empty air, we hear. She sees the lights in Paris through the window. And she goes,
Quand l'amour est vrai, qu'il vole sur une étoile.
and his dumbass goes,
What?
Come to the window, Alan. Do you see all those other windows glowing gold in the gaslight? And those people all sitting inside. In Paris we live on stars, Alan. That's us, Alan. That's us. When we sit in our rectangle window of gold, we really are a Illuminate the space between your neighbors tonight. All we dream is all we are. Neighbors on a star.
She's a splendor, flame-like, born to be pursued with eyes incensed with love for all they see. She is a wonder, more to be adored than rude. Every little thing she does feels like enchantment, something to keep alive in this outland rage. Relics of a romantic taste gone by. She and I.
Look through the window, Alan. There are lights, lonely lights. What did they do when life fell to ruin and pain? Unending pain. How did they get through? Gaslight, eliminate all trace of who we should be tonight.
she's feeling sexy.
We are only who we are. Neighbors on a star.
better to be deep alone in silken scented down, where love throbs out in blissful sleep. When the will to love and be beloved cast out the want to question or the will to doubt.
You hear how sexy this is?
I don't want to question, I've no will to doubt.
This is the world's horniest cello. Are you ready?
Lie to me, a flowering scent of words begun. Lie near me and dim the
But she's still haunted. But she's still haunted by the loss. You hear that? And he says, I'm here. It's okay. I got you.
Neighbors on a
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we end the first act. We end it with a surprise in this day and age. It's not a, oh, fucking crazy twist! It's just love. Love can be an end to itself. Love, there's that beautiful line from Alan Seeger's poetry. This is inspired by a World War I poet, where he says, love, 'tis the payment of the debt we owe the beauty of the world. I think about that a lot. That sounds great. You wouldn't believe that. Mrs. Darth Vader and shit, but I do. You think about that. Love, 'tis the payment of the debt we owe the beauty of the world. How can we not fill our lives with love and give and give and give and give and experience the thrill of love in all its forms, given the debt we owe to the beauty all around us? I think that's just beautiful. And so they fuck. So his friends are wrong. So this is act 1 of 3 in Paris Through the Window. It all takes place in one day, and every single thing that happens after this references this one day. So this was the romantic comic opera, this beautiful little jewel box of a microcosm of art and strife and grief in Paris in 1913. I'm so excited to go on this journey the next 2 nights with you. I'm going to do Act 2 tomorrow night and Act 3 the following night. They're each about 45 minutes in real life, so this is only like 30 minutes of music, so let's say 45 or an hour with me talking my face off! But I hope you're enjoying this. Replay it back! I'm going to keep this on my profile. Share with your friends for this lip sync, this ridiculous lip sync to 10 songs from Paris to the Window. This is an opera. You can stream it now on Spotify. You can download it on iTunes. Share it with your friends. Every little stream helps. We're nobodies. Help us. Help us get seen. Help us get on other playlists. Help us get the word out about something that's beautiful. This is an original musical in this day and age that's done with this much thought and care, and that's just kind of rare. No tea, no shade to anybody else, but it's take 10 years of my life, 1/3 of my life, dedicated to this story. I never wanted to be a writer before I started writing this, but I thought I had a story in me, and I had to learn how to be somebody good enough to write something that sounds this beautiful. It's written with the beautiful composer Leo Hurley. I did the book and the lyrics. It's called Paris Through the Window. Stream it now, Spotify, iTunes. It's just beautiful. Yeah, I'm going to take a break and pause this, and then I'll come back for another round in just a few minutes if anybody has any questions. So stick around, give me 5 minutes so I can tinkle, tinkle, little star. Okay, I love you guys. This is Paris Through the Window. I will be posting this, and I'll be back tomorrow night with Acts 2 and 3. Love you guys. Stream now.